remember going through my mental health challenges, just really in a dark spot, feeling anxious all the time and dealing with deep depression. And it wasn't until I went and talked to someone, when I went and talked to a therapist actually, where I was able to really connect the dots and free myself from that mental anguish. If you think you might be feeling depressed, stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, today's sponsor, BetterHelp, is here to help you. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. Talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapist network that gives you access to help that may not be available in your area. You just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with the therapist in under 48 hours. Then you schedule your secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. Get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp by going to betterhelp.com/CWWN. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/CWWN. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Change What We Normalize podcast, where we focus on changing norms through powerful conversations that promote resilience, mental wellness, and living in your purpose. As you know, y'all, this is season 3, and I've been tapping in with some incredible guests. And today, I'm super excited to bring this brother right here. We've been trying to get him for a while now, and our schedules haven't really aligned like that, but God made a way, and he's here today. This is my guy. He has been a professional athlete, specifically a professional basketball player for years now. I'm talking about a champion, y'all. Phenomenal guy, phenomenal father. He's doing incredible work within his community down in South Jersey. He's an entrepreneur now, just putting some amazing stuff out into the world, especially as it pertains to our young people. And this is my guy right here. I don't want to further prolong this. Right, my guy right here, Frank Turner.
What's going on, everybody? I'm pretty excited about this one here, man. This is long overdue. I've known Nate all my life, competed against him, and now it's crazy how it comes full circle with us kind of being in the same field of, giving back and helping others, especially mentally. So I'm excited about this interview.
Hey, my guy. All right, let's get comfortable, man. Let's get this a little more formal. So real quick, bro, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of, what I want to talk about and things like that, so people can really understand who you are, first, I want to give you your flowers. One, just because of who you are, the work I see you do, how you are in your community with your family, but also the huge accolade that you just got, which is the Hall of Fame at Canisius College.
Yes.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's huge. And I don't want to just bypass that like it's regular, you know what I mean? Like it's on a regular day. It's like, nah, it's one thing to be like, are you a 1,000-point scorer? Cool. It's another thing to be like, yo, you're in the Hall of Fame at your college. Like that's legendary stuff. And that's stuff that, your son and then also others can come in and be like, yo, that's fire. You know what I mean? And be really inspiring. For me, I was super inspired by it, if I'm being honest.
The crazy part about it is, I don't know why, I've just been so humble in my life that it really didn't hit me still. Like, everybody's like, yo, this is a great accomplishment, but like I really feel like I was put on this earth, not just for basketball, is something bigger. And I feel like that's why I haven't felt like my accomplishments have meant so much. Like literally the first day I put out my affirmation cards, like I cried. I never cried for a championship in basketball ever in my life. Not once did I cry. So putting out affirmation cards for kids and it hits like that, it shows like my purpose is big or bigger than basketball. But it was great being down there in Buffalo, the whole experience. Getting the love that I got from it, and that's definitely history. And a story for my son that I'm proud about. But I just know life is bigger than that.
That's fire. We're going to definitely dive into that as well, especially what you saying. Like, y'all got these championships. It never even hit me like that. It was almost like I was supposed to do that. You know what I mean? We're going to go into that. We're going to go into that. Before we do, I like to do a little icebreaker with some of my guests. And I didn't prep you for this, and I don't purposely. But just two quick questions, man. First one, what is your favorite movie or show and why?
Oof. Favorite movie? I would probably have to say 5 Heartbeats or the movie Blow. 5 Heartbeats is just, it resonates with our culture.
Right.
I'm big on love, and I feel like during that time, music was really...
It was a lot. Yeah, they was putting their heart and soul. He had old girl melting in the front line.
I feel like that was the time I was supposed to be living in rather than now when life is crazy. And I'm sure life was crazy there with like, racism and everything that was going on. But Blow is just, the movie is basically, I'm into it because not just simply because of the drugs and the action, but it shows you how quick life can be up and then it can go down quick.
Real quick.
You know what I mean? So you got to understand that in life, you grind for what you want, but it can be taken from you immediately. And it's another way of saying, like, be on the right path rather than the wrong path for me. So
And be grateful.
Yeah.
Sometimes, stuff becomes so normal to us that we stop appreciating it.
It's a fact.
Like you said, you win your whole life. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's regular, but it's like, it can be taken away. That's good. I like those two different dynamics for me. Mine just Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
Everybody know that.
Dope.
That's like, Pursuit of Happiness is my joint. Every time it's on, I watch it and
definitely shed a tear every time.
Every time, because you can feel his pain. Like, yo, bro, he trying hard. And for me, it was like the ultimate level of faith that he had in himself to just show up in the interview with the crazy jacket on, stuff all on. I'm like, yo, I'm meant to keep it 100 with y'all. This is what it is. This is what I'm looking to do. And he was so confident in that. And for me, with his son being in the movie, it was a way to just show him like, yo, you do what you have to do. Like, anything's possible.
It's a fact.
And even when he corrected himself, you know what I mean? Like, don't let anybody tell you what to do or what to be, not even me. And I was like, man, that joint, every time, man, it resonates with me. So my second and last question in regards to this segment is, what is your favorite food and why?
That's a tough one. I've been kind of on that same journey as you with being like vegan and changing my diet at some point. So it's crazy, man. The thoughts, like, I remember the conversation we had when you was like, yo, you could be a vegan, but if that one day you want that piece of chicken, eat the chicken. So I'm going to probably say like my favorite food of all time is probably cereal.
Wow.
Favorite.
I was not expecting that.
It's
I
cereal.
thought he was going to say like some type of like buffalo fried.
Nah, it's cereal, bro. I can eat cereal all day, every day.
Nah, that's real.
And if I have to say like a real meal, man, the thought of fried chicken right now is crazy. I miss it so much, bro. So much. And it's like, damn, do I really want it? Because right now I'm pescatarian.
Okay.
So I want to go back to that so bad, but it's probably teriyaki salmon right now.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
What's the cereal you rocking with?
Any and every kind.
Oh,
bro.
okay. So
my all-time favorite is probably Fruity Pebbles, though.
Yo, I told people Fruity Pebbles be rocking.
Yo, it's legit.
And it's one of those things where it's like you never get full eating Fruity Pebbles.
Never.
Like...
And everybody be like, oh, when it gets soggy. Nah, that's when it really gets good. Yo, I'm like a cereal connoisseur, though, bro. Man. That's really a real thing.
That's hilarious. We like the same person. My wife be like, "Oh, you like it?" I'm like, "Yo, you don't know." You
and
have no idea.
Gotta drink the milk too.
And that's her. She'll eat the cereal all crunchy, and I'm not drinking the milk. I said, "What's the point? You wasting so much of the good stuff."
That's a fact.
So that's funny, man. That's hilarious. I was not expecting him to say cereal. I'm gonna be honest. I had people say blueberries. Somebody said spinach. Somebody said seafood. Cereal, that's a new one, but hey, man, you want a bowl of cereal? I ain't have cereal in a minute.
Captain Crunch right now been hitting. I don't know why, but I've been dogging
This is the
Captain
champion
Crunch.
letting y'all know, like, he like Ocho Cinco.
Yo.
Ocho be on the McDonald's diet. Say, yo, how does, yo.
I don't know how he do that, though. Cereal, McDonald's tear your stomach up immediately.
McDonald's ain't real food.
Nah, it's not.
Cereal more real than McDonald's. They out there serving mock food.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. That's made up in some bathroom somewhere.
They're wild.
I don't know.
Oh, man, that's too funny. All right, so let's jump into it a little bit. Because, like I said, I know you. I've known you for some years, and we've had different conversations, and some serious conversations about different things, which has really allowed me to view you, like, in this light. Not on a pedestal, but, like, yo, that's a solid dude. And there's not a lot of men, that I can put in that category. Mm-hmm. So when I find those men, it's like I need to build relationships with those men. Because for me, creating the legacy that I'm creating, and then me and my wife expecting our first child, and it's going to be a boy, I'm like, yo, I want him to have men he can glean from. You know what I mean? So one of the things I'm big on, and I share this all the time, is quotes. I'm big on quotes. The one that I live my life by is, your story is about you, but it's not for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's for somebody else. So we see you now. We see the success. We see the Hall of Fame. We see what you're doing with lovely affirmations, all of these amazing things. But I want you to take us back, take us back to the kid in Atlantic City, take us as far back as you would like to go. Because I want to know who you were prior to this, and essentially what did you have to go through to get to this point today? Because it wasn't all just, roses for you. Again, you're not the tallest person. You're not the quickest person. I know you've had different challenges. You didn't grow up in the most perfect community, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, how does this dude from this neighborhood with these attributes, how does he get to this point and continue to grow with the mindset that you have? So take us back.
So, like, speaking of quotes, one that really has affected my life, right, is, and I didn't even put that on the form that you had sent me, it's like, no grind, no shine. So that takes me back to this exact story. I'm sure you remember Triple B in Atlantic City.
I do. Used to be popping.
So Triple B, for everybody, it's a real historic summer league for kids in Atlantic City. For summers, going way back into, when my father and his friends were pretty young. So this was like a first year they put out a list of the rankings. And, they had it on the wall, and it was in Uptown. Everybody's hype coming in there. As you get to the front of the line, you see everybody, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. And I see my name, and it was, like, super low. And I'm like, yo, there's no way y'all really think these guys are better than me. And I'm thinking this in my head, but not saying anything. And that was the summer where it was like, boom, I just turned up. Like, really started killing. Like, one game, people probably won't believe it, but I was playing for the Tan team, and they signed Wiggins, who was really, really good at this point, younger kid.
That sound was nice, too.
Really nice.
That sound was nice.
Literally, first half, I don't know how much time they was having, but people won't really believe this. I had 50 and a half.
Damn.
50. Literally was not passing the ball. And you know me, I'm a point guard. It was just, yo, you got to kill everybody to let everybody know that ranking was BS. And from there, like, going up until 8th grade, everything was smooth for me. But I still had that mindset, like, I'm killing everybody. Then I get to high school, 9th grade year, was on JV, was going to get moved up to varsity, was ineligible. All right, we come back.
Was that because of, like, grades or something?
Grades, yeah. Wasn't focused. You get to high school, girls.
Yeah, it's a whole
the
nother
environment
world.
just changes. So 10th grade year, Gene comes to the high school. All right, cool, I'm on the team. But I mean, if this is the last seat on the bench, I was in the seat before.
Wow.
The whole summer going into the year. And then there was one weekend where things wasn't going well. He threw me in the game, and from there, I never looked back. And then it was, of course, Mark Crumble, Thomas Chappelle was starting the two guards. they brought all three of us in. And you know that's three small guards.
Right.
And it was just us three. And then slowly but surely, it became the Frank and Mark show rather than Thomas and Mark.
Wow.
And I love Thomas today. Like, that's one guy that I really look up to as a person that showed me like how to have heart playing these games, because he was just fearless.
Right.
But since then, it just really took off for me. And then other than that, college was some rough times because we just wasn't winning, but that made me the player that I am, being able to adjust. Like, oh, you go from winning your entire life, state championships, all of that. Now, this is 4 years of toughness. Like, you got to grind it out to the point where I'm on a bench with my coach, and he's not even talking to me. He's talking to the other guard to tell him to tell me what to say.
Wow.
I mean, what to do out there. That's how tough it got in college. But from there, it was just like, you just understand the grind. So those are like the tough parts that really made me who I am today.
Right. So, man, wow. Starting off, like you said, Triple B, I played in Triple B. Triple B was dope. Like I said, everybody who's somebody comes in Triple B to try to show their game and things like that. You said that a switch hit where you was, I got to show people. Was that something that was like innate in you, like as a kid? Like, was that always something in you? Was it something that you seen from somebody around you, your peers? Like, where did that level of, confidence of like, I'm about to really turn up? Where did that come from?
I really don't know, because I've still to this day, I've been a nice guy, kind of, just laid back, reserved, but people don't normally see that aggressive side of me. But everybody knows like Atlantic City is just a competitive thing. Well, it definitely was a competitive thing with basketball. So
yeah, for sure.
For me, it was just like, nah, it's no way. I'm really out here, and I know I'm better than these guys. There's no way that you can just sit here. Even if people thought it, you're not going to put this out here to everybody else, like to the public, like, no, this is what it is. And then it was just that moment, I was just like, nah, I gotta do this. And I didn't need anybody to say anything to me. I just took it as disrespect.
That's different, because for some people, they would get insecure and they might have stopped playing.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, not for me. It was I had to prove myself right rather than proving others wrong. Because I know for sure at that point, because I still remember some of the names that was in front of me, and I was like, nah, no way.
He was picking them off. He had them in the room on the wall.
Yo,
like,
I'm serious.
You done. I'm coming for you next.
I'm so serious about that, bro. It was a thing for me.
Oh, you was out here like MJ, so I know the last dance joint hit hard.
Yo, for real, man. For real.
You felt disrespected to the core.
I still remember some of the names on that list, bro.
Wow.
Hal Johnson, Hanif Cooper. And Hanif is my blood cousin. He was a football player. I'm like, how you have it? Yeah. It was one of those things, man. Jaleel Shannon. They had a lot of people in front of me.
And it's amazing how like the cream rises to the top. It's just like, y'all gonna see. And that's a great mindset to have and then instill into that next generation to really develop themselves, to not fall victim to the list. You know what I mean? So, you were raised in Atlantic City. And as we know, that isn't the most friendly environment, even though we would want to, paint it that way with the casinos, and it's a beautiful place to be. I love being there, but it has its trials. So for you, a lot of dudes that are around our age group, a lot of them aren't here. A lot of them were either killed or some are in prison. Some are just doing bad, you know what I mean? How did you avoid that? Because I know for me, I bounced around from AC to Pleasantville back and forth. My dad lived in Atlantic City. My mom lived in Pleasantville. So I went to Uptown. I went to New Jersey Avenue before that closed, and then they pushed me back to the Ville. But I know for me playing ball, there were some dudes in the neighborhood who seen I was nice, and they would keep me away from certain stuff. So for you, how did you escape the trap? You know what I mean?
So kind of like that, right? For me, it was like, of course you had the fights and everything. That was you can't avoid that as a kid typical, a lot of times. But the blessing that I'm forever grateful about is nobody allowed me to do none of this stuff. I feel like everybody saw where I can go and who I can be, and never allowed it. I mean, it was times during high school like before we go to practice, I'm sitting in a room with certain players, like at their house. They're all smoking. It goes from one person to another. So it goes around me to the next person. Like, this is a thing, drinking. Everybody's drinking. You know, you're not supposed to be out at time. It never got to me.
Wow.
And like, I'm like truly, sincerely blessed that the people from Atlantic City really believed in me as a kid like that. Like, I said it to one of the people at my Hall of Fame induction. Like, yo, I can't even thank the people enough for that. Because it's easy to be like, okay, here, oh, this one time is good. You could try it.
Right.
But people never allowed it. Like, and it's crazy that that's my story. Yeah, it's very humbling. And
because there's a lot of dudes it's not their story. And it's like, I know a handful of people off the rip I can name right now who are, I'm talking nice from here, North Jersey, PA, but it's like they did get caught in that.
Yeah.
And it's like for you to actually avoid that, not that you were intentionally like, nah, I'm done, I'm cool. Like, you was in the environment.
Yeah.
It was very accessible to you. And for them to have that level of faith to be like, nah, it's something, we don't know what it is, but it's something different about him.
Yeah, man. Even drugs, selling it, doing it, everything. Nobody would. Now, I'm gonna name like one specific situation. I was a pro a couple years ago. I'm gonna just say it was early in my pro career. My cousin, who happens to be in the streets, and you know me, I'm a loved guy by everybody.
Right.
So we all go out. They celebrating me coming home. So he has a certain beef with a certain group of guys. So him and two others, they somehow dip off. Oh, right? Man. So you know me, I'm like, this is my family.
Right.
If anything goes down, I gotta protect or rock with my family. So they dip off somehow, some way. I don't know how they disappeared. Before you know it, we get the story that they dipped off to fight with the other guys in the casino parking lot to avoid me and my friends, the other friends, being involved.
Wow.
Like, to make sure the street stuff was street and that I never had to get involved.
Wow.
And when I had the conversation with him, I'm like, I never, you know, you look at people in a certain way, but I told him, I said, that day, the respect I grew for you was even like, it was 20 times more. Because at the end of the day, when it's your family,
right,
you rock out.
Yeah.
But for him to do that, it was just like he was thinking ahead of what was going on. And a matter of that moment when, you know, when things is going on, it can escalate real quick. So for you to even think that fast, that shows how much love that you have for me.
That's real.
That was a moment of my life where I was like, people like that, you gotta make sure you keep them around or you show them extreme love.
Right. Even if they into some stuff that you're not into.
Yeah.
Because that could have went south on some, I'm going to do it right here. That's real. People don't have that kind of love. I'm going to be honest. That's a true blessing to have someone in your life that's like, I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I'm not going to do it around you. I'm not about to jeopardize anything you got going on because you're doing your thing, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, that was real, bro. That was real.
That's so real because a lot of times people envy individuals that are in positions like you.
Yeah.
So if I can spoil you this, I will. Have you had to come against any of that?
Not really. I mean, you have people who they pretend to show you love, but you know it's really not love. But I guess I've been raised with that trait or that blessing to be able to recognize it. Like, that's one thing that I've learned from my father. Because my father was a street guy, but he's always told me to read a room and know your surroundings. So I've just been big on reading people all my life.
That's good.
So you can tell, and then you try people. When they try you give it back to them, and then it'll show immediately, because you'll know like your heart ain't in the right place. So.
And how long do you say you've had that level of like discernment? Was that like way back?
I mean, it's been since I've been young, Also with like, that's how my mother, my grandmother, my sister raised me also. But since I was like really, really young, my father we used to go like up to New York, and he would just put me in situations and then ask me like, okay, what you supposed to do here?
Wow.
How do you read this situation? All right, what street is this on? So if we go here, how do we get back here? And if this is situation going on over here, how do you avoid that to get back there? Like he's really put me in situations where I had to read and realize what am I doing, especially in a city that I'm not familiar with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, shout out to him.
Yeah, he probably doesn't even remember like those type of moments. But
Wow.
I've never told him how much it meant to me, but that's made me who I am today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That instinctual kind of like, I need to prepare you for like the real world. Like I can't give you everything, but at least let me do that. That's powerful, man. I just took a gem from your dad that I'm gonna utilize.
Yo,
that's powerful.
It's key, especially with today's world with these kids with social networks. It's easy to just go off in the wrong direction.
Yes.
It's easy, way easier.
Mm.
So that's what I'm trying to prepare my son for, just knowing everything that's around you, your maturity, your social skills. It has to be there. It has to.
That's powerful. That's so powerful. And you said something, you touched on social media, and I think about the mental, emotional aspect that this generation, the next generation's kind of going through. Everybody's anxious, everybody's depressed.
Yeah.
But then I also think about you being overseas away from your family. And I want to kind of hear more about that, because here's the thing. I know when I wanted to go, I'm like, yeah, I just want to go. I'm ready to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the money, send it back home. But I never thought about the downside of being away from the people I love the most for months at a time. You know what I mean? And you did that for years. You did that for years, and you would come home and you home for a short period, and everybody wants your attention, then you gone again. So talk to us about that, about the challenges, because here's the thing. People want the success of something, but they don't want the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the work is like, that's what you need to focus on, the work. Like this part that y'all see, the Hall of Fame, y'all see me do these things, y'all see the championships, y'all see where I'm at now, that's cool, but you don't realize the work and the stress. And I can only imagine what that's like being gone and you over there, and we just see the games, but we don't see the practices, we don't see the late nights, we don't see nothing. So talk to us about, like, what was that like? You know what I mean? Mentally, emotionally, were there some challenges you feel like you were going through in those spaces?
So for me, overseas was somewhat not easy for me to adjust to, but like I was welcome into it from college. So Buffalo was 8 hours away from me, well, from Atlantic City. 8 hour drive.
Buffalo's what, top of New York or something?
Yeah, upstate New York. So it's 8 hours away. In college, I was able to get my master's degree because the summers we had to do both sessions, which I'm grateful for. So I would probably get 2.5 weeks max all 4 years in college. 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 max. So I looked at it when I first went over to Europe. My first flight was an 8 hour flight.
Sheesh.
So I had to psych myself out. Like, matter of fact, I'm lying. It was a 6 hour flight and then a 2 hour flight. So I'm like, all right, 8 hours. Let's look at it like college. Right. But then when you get into really being alone, because now you get into a country, people don't really speak your language. You at your house alone. You're just starting to meet your teammates. So you got to get adjusted to them. So like over the years, you just like, it just accumulates. You're alone. Sheesh. And you're like, damn, I got to Skype. I got to FaceTime it made things much easier. But with Skype, you know, it's 8 o'clock over there in Europe. It's 2 p.m. over here. A lot of people aren't free. They at work.
Yeah.
They might be doing something with their kid. So you just like, all right, let me figure this schedule out. So to make a long story short about that, right, now I find myself after retiring, I'm so used to being alone that I avoid people a lot now.
Wow.
Like this first year of me being home, because this is the second year, that first year, I caught it and I'm like, nah, I can't be this way. Like, you're a social person. Like, I mean, I would be walking into the mall. If I'm walking in this way and you're walking out, and I know it's you. Certain people, of course, I'm going to speak. But it's like, if you walk that way and you don't say nothing to me, I'd be like, all right, cool, let's just avoid it. And it got to the point I caught myself like, nah, you can't be that way.
Right.
But like emotionally, I think that was more of the reason why I retired, because of my son. Having him, he's about to be 6 this month. Those first years of not being able to like really be there and see like when he takes his first steps and him saying his real first word, or just small moments, it starts to add up. And then it was like, nah, like I see like the way the world's going. This is the right age to get my son and basically mold him, because now he's really talking, he's aware of everything. So to see him and like how he acts like me at certain times, talks like me, like now I'm content with basketball being over.
Wow.
But those moments, bro, like it was hurting me. It was hurting me. And probably the only person that really knew like as deep of how it was hurting me was my son's mother. Like, cause it was times where like my son got real sick, but I couldn't even hold it in when she showed me his face over the phone. Broke down. And that was like 2 years before I stopped. And I was like, nah, it gotta come to an end at some point. And plus, you're getting older. Basketball is stopped, so let's figure out life after.
Right.
But I've had a very strong foundation with support and everything. So everybody always stayed in touch with me as much as they could. Social networks helped. So, you know, like I was strong mentally enough to deal with it for the time that I did, but it got to the point where it's like, all right, let's wrap it up, basically.
Right. So that's so good. When I think about it, a lot of times it's tough, even for me, and I didn't even play on the level you was on, it was tough to find my identity after basketball. Because everybody that knew me was like, oh, that's Nate from basketball. Oh, you from... And that's how people would introduce me, and it's like, yo, I don't even know who I am outside of this.
Yeah.
So for people transitioning out of the sport, because we can't play it forever, unfortunately, unless you're Joe Johnson. That brother.
He's unreal, man.
He go right back to the league.
One of my teammates is like his best friend doing the yoga with him. Yeah, I played with him in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fire.
To see that process is crazy, bro.
ISO Joe. That's my man. ISO Yoga now.
Yeah.
But somebody transitioning out, I knew how challenging it was for me to figure out who's Nate without basketball. Was that challenging for you to figure out like who's Frank? Because of you had so much success with it, it's like when we think of you, it's like synonymous with basketball.
Yeah.
So it's like, was that challenging? Are you still kind of dealing with that of like, yo, who am I outside of this?
I mean, it wasn't too challenging. And again, I'm grateful for the people that was around me. When I was in Poland, things going full circle. It's crazy. That was my 3rd or 4th year out, right? And my OG was like 32, 33. And when I would go to his room, he was always trying to figure out what he's about to do, because he was getting to that age. And he played in a league, top, like Russia, all top leagues in Europe. So I'm seeing him like every day, and he's always bringing ideas to me. So I took that game like, okay, I'm going to be here one day. So the full circle part was I was 32 when I was in Germany, and my youngin came in, Dwayne Russell.
Man.
And this was the first time, Nate, in my life where somebody was really giving me the business.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, all right, now it's time. Like,
check out.
you know what I mean? My time is coming. Like, I was still competing at a high level, but I never had that happen to me. So now it's like, all right, Father Time is catching up. So let's just get proactive with it. But with that being said, it was things that I always would like put my thoughts into. And then my cousin Kamal, who's a great businessman, like
for sure.
us bumping heads, it was always like, all right, we're gonna figure this out. So the first thing with like how we started doing parties, we did a party and I did it with Cash. And I just, he threw it and I made nothing off of it. And he was like, never again. Because the turnout was crazy. He's like, never again will somebody make money off your name, especially as me being your cousin. Boom, we started doing parties. Then the affirmation company, like, all right, cool. My son, I always affirm him. I know as a basketball player, I needed that. Like, nobody ever knows, like, I dealt with confidence issues. So you know what? Let's do this for my son, but then it can be an effect for others, especially black kids, black little boys that look like me. That takes off. With the clothing line, it was just something that was just like, all right, you know, I love the dress. Let's just try it out. I get a lot of support. The support when I first dropped it, huge.
Yeah.
And then, you know, being in Europe, you see different styles of fashion.
Right.
And now it's still continuing to grow. But I just feel like I always had a mind outside of basketball. And I've never loved the limelight anyway. I've always wanted everybody else to get the praise around me.
Right.
I think that's the point guard in me. Let everybody else eat. And people will see your value, but that's another blessing. I just feel like it just came naturally to me knowing like, okay, you're going to do stuff after basketball for sure.
Right. Was that kind of like nerve-wracking thinking of like, yeah, I got to try to make this successful after basketball? Or not really?
Not really, because I know my purpose in life is to help others.
Wow.
So whether it be me being a trainer that I want to be or this affirmation company,
right?
You know, I've had conversations with you about speaking about mental health, writing like a book or whatever. I know God is going to, it's going to be one moment where it's going to be like, boom, that's it. And it's going to change lives like drastically.
Wow.
Like I have that feeling. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know that it's going to change lives.
And it's probably going to be in ways that you couldn't do necessarily as a basketball player. You know what I mean? But it led to where you are now, too. So it's all a part of the journey.
Yeah. I think the basketball led me into it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Because you got to not only just play ball everywhere, but you got to meet all types of people from around the world, travel around the world.
Indeed.
Have experiences that a lot of us just don't have. And now you bring that to what you're doing now. And it's like, I'm kind of like eclectic with all this. I can get busy with several different things and bring real value. So that's powerful.
Yeah, man.
That's powerful. So tell us more, because you talked about lovely affirmations. You know, the parties. Y'all stay with a party. Parties. I ain't gonna lie. Your parties were lit. I was like, yeah, it's out of my lane.
Yeah,
I ain't built for it. I ain't got the stamina no more. I'm out the game. I'm out the game.
It's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of love.
The cholesterol to be out in the streets. I ain't built for it, but I want to talk more about your training company, Frank Turner Academy, right?
Basketball Academy,
right? So that's fairly new, but at the same time, it's the success of it's growing rapidly.
Yeah.
How has that been, being able to have a full circle moment to start training the next generation of athletes, of basketball players?
So, again, you know, in the area, it's been tough even getting a gym.
Which is crazy to me. I don't know who we got to talk to, but that's the most craziest thing to me. It's like, we got 1,000 gyms. You're trying to tell me this man, I don't want to get into it. I'm going to get frustrated.
So
go ahead.
What's crazy was, like a couple years back, Mr. Goodman, I'm not sure you know who Mr. Goodman is.
Yeah.
He said to me, yo, I want you to come over to the church and train some kids. Well, at the time, I'm in my career. It's like...
Yeah, you don't really have the capacity to do that.
Get what I'm saying? So, full circle, you know, being home a whole year, trying to find a gym, I thought of him. I said, yo, is that gym still a thing? Yeah. Boom, it starts working, right? So now I'm nervous getting into training kids because I really don't know how it's going to go, but I do know that I know what I'm doing.
Right.
So slowly but surely, like day after day, studying it, it just starts taking off. And then for me, it's never about basketball. The moments that I really love is, like I always said, I'd be like, all right, teacher moment is when you can teach them stuff that relates to basketball. So it's like little things like you tell a kid, okay, boom, go up here, make a right, go up here, make a left. So in basketball, you know how important it can be not doing exactly what somebody tells you, like a play.
Right.
So now I'm having moments where kids are going up here, I say go right, they go left. I'm like, okay, Let's let them keep doing it. And then it gets to a point, all right, you did it too many times. Now I got to teach you, okay? If your coach tells you, go out there and guard number 4, and you go guard number 3 and number 4 hits the game-winning basket, then what? So now it's like, all right, you go out here, your mom or your dad tells you, go here. Stay there and don't leave. And you go somewhere else, now you end up in trouble.
Right.
Get what I'm saying? So those are the moments for me that resonate even more. It's like, I'm going to teach you the game, but I'm going to teach you life in here so that you prepare, like overly prepared. So sometimes I sit back and I like glance and then you'll see the parent. And the parent goes from like, they may be in their phone and their head sits up. And those messages from their parents, more so about how their kids are changing, like off the court, because of course I get the messages about them getting better, but those are the messages that mean more to me.
Right.
Yeah, those are it for me.
Wow, that's fire, and I love that. I was just talking to who was I talking to? Zill, and like I said, he asked me to come back and talk, the ACCC and stuff, the players, and I was like, as great as it's going to be for y'all to get scholarships, play ball, be known for ball, he's going to be more proud of the man you become outside of this and knowing that he contributed to that. Yeah. So you come back, you're doing your thing, you might have a family, you might be into your career. That's going to mean more to us than you being like, yo, I'm playing ball over here and I'm playing this. Like, that's cool. That's dope. I love it. I'm going to celebrate that. But you come back and we know you're a solid man. You know what I mean? We mentored you right. Or you're a solid young lady and we mentored you right. That's huge, man. So I'm going to applaud you on that, man. That's fire right there. That's fire right there. And I love what you're doing. And those kids that you are, I would say mentoring, honestly, because it's not just, like you said, it's not just sports. They're in great hands, and they may not even realize the value that they're getting now, but they'll be able to look back, years from now. Me and Les, we were talking about that, about pouring into, the younger generation in that way, and as they get older, it'll come back around. Because they'll be like, hey, these were the OGs, these were the individuals who poured into us. So that's fire, bro. That's fire, and I'm excited to see the progression of not just the academy, but the people within it. Mm-hmm. And I just know, just because of who you are, it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow, and bless just so many different individuals, even if they don't go off to play pro or college or overseas, but just the life lessons that they so desperately need. That's going to be fire. So as we start to kind of land the plane a little bit, there's a few things, a few more questions that I want to ask you. I have a bunch that I could, but I definitely want to respect your time. Right now, two things, because we talk about resilience, we talk about mental wellness on this show. There was one thing you said about something in 5th grade where somebody telling you, I don't know if it's a teacher or somebody, where they was like, you ain't about to make it. Like, you ain't the one, kid. Yeah. And share a little bit about that scenario and how that played into like your psyche and your motivation.
This is the crazy part. I still remember it like it was yesterday. You have, excuse me, Lawrence Owens, Seabass, Tariq Calloway, Damon Hawkins, Marshall Jones, Tariq Hamilton. All of us used to always be in recess, battling, going at it all the time. Tariq and Damon was always like the Lakers because they both loved the Lakers. So it was normally me and Seabass and Marshall and Tariq because they was cousins. That's just how it was all the time. So to fast forward the story, Mr. Potke was the teacher, and I always see him. He was a principal at the Atlantic City High School. He's like, yo, like, because your height, it's going to be hard for you to even get a Division I scholarship. Like, it's probably not going to be a thing for you. Because Seabass, he was definitely the most talented out of all of us.
Seabass was nice.
For sure. He was the most talented. But that was a moment for me like, yo, I'm good. How could you even tell a kid or tell me, yo, I can't be a Division I player or this and that? And then you look back at it now, I'm at where I'm at in life. Whenever I see him, he always stops. Like, yo, I'm so proud of you. And it seems like every time I would see him, I'm in the gym.
Wow.
I would always see him at the high school, and I look at him, and I would never even bring up the story. And I just have a smile like, yo, you do know, like, this little moment that we shared for this little bit of time has changed my life. Yeah, that was a real moment for me.
Wow.
I'll
Wow.
never forget it. Because he was like he went to Monmouth, played D1. He's like 6'6".
Right. So
Yeah.
he's thinking like, nah, you don't stand a chance. But it's one of those things, man. It goes back to what I shared about my favorite movie, Pursuit of Happiness. It's like, don't let anybody tell you what you can do or be, not even you. And for you to have that awareness at that age and being like, how you going? And still go after it. Because I know so many other individuals out there who right there, the dream is crushed and it's over. You know what I mean? And for you to have that level of perseverance is incredible, man. And it's just admirable and inspiring at the same time. So another question that I wanted to ask you, because I talk a lot about mental wellness, my work and the things I do. For you right now in a position that you're in, you have a lot going on. You're juggling a lot. You know what I mean? Different companies, different opportunities and things like that, while also being a father. And then just having, your own life. What does self-care look like for you?
Oof. That's kind of tough, man, because I'm one of those people that's always pouring like into everybody else.
Right.
That's just how I've always been. My grind has always been for everybody else. I'm always making sure that people around me are doing well, or the mood is always right. Like I've just always been that type of person, but lately I've been realizing like sometimes you gotta have moments to yourself, and you can't be sorry about it.
That's the big part right there. You can't be like, you can't be sorry about it.
So it was just times where like, I had a conversation this summer when I was just like, like, you gotta snap out of this. Like, you always trying to make sure everybody else is right, and you're not making sure yourself is right. And it was like a couple days where I had like this real stern attitude, like, no, I'm first. And I didn't explain to nobody. I didn't care. If you thought my attitude was messed up, you got to deal with that. I'll explain to you another time. But I was just tired of like always putting everybody first. But even to this day, like my self-care is really just being around like love. So whenever I feel like I need that type of moment, sometimes I'll go up to the beach, sit alone, get my thoughts out. Other times it's like, all right, if I don't even have my son, go get your son. Right. That's like a big thing for me. Whenever I could just hold him or just watch him at night and be like, everything you're doing is going to work out because it's all for him. You know what I mean? Unless I have, another kid or whatever. But those are the moments for me where it's like, all right, we good. Let's bounce back.
I love that.
So
I love that. Just the way to recalibrate. And like you said, not feeling sorry for being like, nah. And I'm also not about to explain myself. You know what I mean? Because I had to learn that. And it was tough at first because I'm like you said, the giver as well. Where it's like I'm a poor and so I ain't got nothing left. And I'm going to try to find something else to pour. And, it wasn't mutual. So a lot of times it was from an empty place. And I remember getting frustrated. I'm like, why am I angry with people? Like, that's not even my character.
At all.
And from there, I was like, you know what? I have to say no. And like I said, at first it was uncomfortable, but I got to a place where it's like, I can't give you my best version because I'm not my best. Because I'm not taking care of me. And for me, I had an extreme situation where I passed out, exhaustion, all types of stuff. And from there, I was like, I'm about to kill myself trying to be everything for everybody because that's what people expect me to be. You know what I mean? So for me, just like you, it's like, I gotta say no. And that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's not me being harsh, it's not being me being mean, but it's me loving myself enough to be like, I can't kill myself for you. But I got you. You know what I mean? I got you, which means I gotta take care of me. So that's important, man. And I love that. I hope somebody really received that to be like, no. And I'm not feeling sorry and bad for that. And the first few times you might be like, dang, I just shoot.
No, when I did that, I think and it wasn't just so towards that person. I think when I had the conversation, I was having it about them and the other people that I felt was like just taken from me. And I think they heard like the sincerity, because it sounded like I was getting ready to break down, which I was really about to.
Wow.
Because I was like, it was the frustration, like, and then you can hear like the silence over there across the phone, like, nah, he's dead serious. You can feel where he's coming from. So that moment was like, it stood ground basically for me, like, all right, no more. When you have these moments, say it, and even if you don't want to say it, you say no when you want to say no, walk away when you got to walk away, and don't be apologetic for nothing.
Right.
At all. Without me, like we're all individuals. So I can't help nobody if I'm not right.
Right.
Financially, mentally, physically.
None of that.
That's just life.
Right.
So,
and the powerful thing about what you're doing is you're training the people around you that love you to respect those boundaries. You know what I mean? Because that may have not always been a thing where the boundary was there. It was just kind of like, yeah, we know we can always pull on Frank. Like that's, he got us. Like, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, he got boundaries too. Not only that, he's showing me how to work on myself by working on himself. So that's powerful, man. I love that. So as we begin to close, I do want to touch on this quote that you shared with me. So I have all my guests bring a quote. And I love this one that you shared. Very simplistic, but it's like, it's the simple things that make people successful. We make it so complicated. I don't know why, but that's just the world we live in. But the quote that you came with, it says, believe you can and you're halfway there. So let me ask you this. What does that mean to you? I know what it means to me. What does that mean to you?
So there's this person, they're going to watch this. And they was always saying to me, like, because this past year and a half has been, it's been tough coming back here because I've been so used to being away.
Right.
So I'm a realist in a sense. It's like, if I can sense this is going on, I should be optimistic, but the pessimist in me is like, okay, this could happen. And they will always say like, yo, stop being a pessimist. Like, stop it. Like, put that energy into the world and manifest what you want. Like, so manifesting it is basically believing. So once you start to believe in anything that you do, it's like, all right, today I'm going to go out and have a good game. When you believe it, your confidence is different.
That's the mental part you was talking about.
You know what I mean? So, yo, I'm going to do this project for kids and look at the turnout. You know what I mean? Now it's in schools for kids. You know what I mean? As small or as big as somebody may think it is or whatever, my project is in a public school and a charter school. Like, that's not like something small in a sense.
No, it's not.
So just believing it and putting that energy into everything is like, yo, that's half the fight. And once you get into the actual fight, all right, let's adjust. Let's get it done.
All right.
So that's really how I look at it.
Wow. And you get to see it, you know what I mean? So now it becomes, now your confidence is growing because you've done it multiple times where it's like, yo, just believe you can. You're halfway there. I've seen it literally manifest in my life by believing I can do something, taking action towards it. And like, oh, shoot, this just happened. Like, it's in here. It's in the school. So like we were talking off camera, it's like, yo, the next project, why can't it be a thing? And then when it's a thing, it's like, nice. All right, so where else can I go with that? And that builds your confidence for even bigger and greater. But you got to start at the ground level of like, yo, just believe you can, whatever that thing is you feel like God put on you, like, yo, believe you can do it. Like, that's powerful. Because I remember you
literally
hitting me up.
have it tattooed on my wrist.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Got to.
And I remember you hitting me up. This was it last year? When did you start the cards? Was it last year for Lovely Affirmation?
Last December.
Okay, because I remember leaving the gym and you were like trying to figure out how to set up and everything. I'm like, okay, that's a dope idea. And I'm like, yo, this would be dope if he did this. And now to see that it's done, but not just done, like you said, oh, it's in the school. It's like, oh, he ain't talking. Like, he's actually putting the work in, and he had a vision, he had an idea. It wasn't just something sketched in a book, like, yo, this would be dope if I did this, right? It's like, oh, word. But some people get high off of the idea of
thought of things.
Yeah. And I remember being in that space where it's like, yo, I love the idea of just being like, yo, this is a dope, yo, I gotta, and you're like, yo, that's fire. And it's like, all right, that's all I needed. You know what I mean? But to see you actually, like you said, do it and it come to life is powerful and inspiring. That's only just the beginning of all of the incredible things you're about to do, post basketball, which I'm super excited to witness. You know what I mean? Which is fire. So our signature question for the show, and I really wish I can just go into more questions, but again, I want to respect your time. As you know, the name of the show is Change What We Normalize, right? And for me, that has a certain meaning, but for my guests, I always want to hear from them. What does change what we normalize mean to you?
That's a good one.
It's a loaded one.
Yeah, that caught me off guard. Change what we normalize.
Yeah, take your time.
What does that really mean to me? Basically, it's more so like, all right, living your life, basically. Like, what everybody seems to believe is the thing to do, that doesn't mean that that's always the thing for you. Know what I'm saying? Like, okay.
Man, that was a bar. Hold on. that was a bar. The thing.
So it's like, all right, cool. Everybody used to going over here. It's like, nah, it's some good over here.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't always have to go that way. And we're not saying the majority have to go over here, but everybody doesn't have to do it that way to get to where they have to go or where they want to go. So that's pretty much as deep as I can go for that one, but I would think that's it.
No, that's fire. Actually, that's it's simple yet profound. At what you're saying, and my hope is that somebody watching this as soon as it drops, or weeks from now, months from now, years from now, that you catch what he's saying, because there's so much power in that, and being that individual who decides to go along the path that's actually created for them and not the one that everybody is on. You know what I mean? I think that that's extremely powerful. So in closing, man, first I want to say thank you for just investing the time. And I like to say that because I believe that this was time invested. It wasn't time wasted, time spent. It's like, yo, we invested for a fire conversation that's going to benefit people. Your son to be able to see this at some point and really conceptualize and be like, dang, my dad was dropping some wisdom that I can really gather from here. And like I said, you've blessed the audience in a major way. And before we close out, of course, I just want to pray. Nothing too deep, but to just cover my guests and thank God for them. So we'll jump into that really quickly. Dear God, we thank you first and foremost for this day, for this opportunity to just be alive, to be breathing, to be well, to use our gifts for your glory. I thank you for my brother Frank here and just how he's continued to say yes to everything you've called him to, and how he's an inspiration, not just to me, but to his community, to the next generation, to his son. And I pray that you would continue to bless his efforts and everything that he touches, because his motives are pure, his intentions are pure. And he's shown himself approved to not just harp on the idea, but take action with the ideas and the concepts that you've given him. So I pray that you would give him every resource that he needs, every connection. And I pray that on his road, as the success continues to come to him, that he would just continue to stay faithful and continue to keep his heart, his motives, and his character pure. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen. Amen, my God. Look, y'all, this was another episode of the Change What We Normalize podcast. Look, make sure that y'all subscribe. Make sure you send this to a friend. Send this to somebody you love. Watch this over and over again, y'all. Don't let this information, don't let this wisdom go over your head. And don't just store this information either and become constipated with it. Literally apply this information. Apply these gems that are being shared. And I promise you that it will change your life. Also, make sure that you tap in with our sponsor, BetterHelp. For those of you that are looking for therapy services, don't miss out on that. We have a great promo with BetterHelp. It's betterhelp.com/CWWN. Make sure you tap in with them. Get a little discount on your services because we all need some help in that space. And it'd be a shame if you didn't get it and utilize it, y'all. So we're going to wrap up right there, man. Frank, my guy. Some love.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you coming out, y'all. And until next time, I love y'all. Peace.